Good afternoon. Welcome to the East Bay Regional Park District Board Operations Committee, September 17th, 2020. And we are pretty much starting on time. Pursuant to Governor Newsom's executive order number N2920 and the Alameda County Health Officers, we're allowed to meet here in this teleconference. And also our headquarters is still not open to the public. Hopefully that will end soon. We shall see. But Denise, would you remind the public how they could submit public comments?
I sure can. So it can be done in 3 ways. You can email per the agenda to the Board Ops Committee at ebparks.org as far as submitting public comments via the Zoom. And you may also join via the YouTube link, which is also published on the agenda on the website. And then for those that choose to speak during an item or a public comment section, you may join via the Zoom link that is also provided on the agenda.
Excellent, thank you. And Denise, can you do a roll call of the board members?
Sure, Director Wieskamp.
Here.
Director Waspi.
Here.
Chair Rosario.
Here.
AGM O'Connor.
Here.
You're ready to go.
Excellent. Okay, we're ready to start. I think our first item is item number 2, the California Coastal Cleanup, date 2020.
So our regional manager, Ira Blitz, is going to do a quick intro before we have Jessica join us. But I just want to say this board members, this is an excellent example of how staff are pivoting during the pandemic and our shelter-in-place order. It's another one of those great examples of creativity and how we're going to adjust to the new normal for now. And with that, I'll pass it off to Ira.
Thank you very much, Chair Rosario and board members. It's great to see you all again on little tiny squares on my computer screen. I have the pleasure of introducing Jessica Sloan. She's our volunteer program supervisor. Jessica joined us in the middle of February, which means she had about a month of normal before everything changed. Jessica came to us from the National Park Service. She worked as an interpreter and as the volunteer coordinator at John Muir National Historic Site. And the district is very lucky to get Jessica. She is incredibly talented and creative. And she's going to share with you our plans for California Coastal Cleanup. You know, it's normally a very popular annual event that, because of all the health department orders, we simply cannot run the way we've always run it in the past. So with that, let me turn it over to Jessica.
Good afternoon, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share what we've been up to. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here and we can go ahead and get started. My name is Jessica Sloan. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Ira. I did come into the district only about a month before the shelter-in-place order, but you know, that just put me on a level playing field with everyone else because now no one knows what's going on. So if anything, it's been fantastic to work for an organization that was able to be so creative in the midst of so many changes. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started telling you all about the 2020 Coastal Cleanup event, which we're calling Clean the Shore from Your Front Door. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Going into this, we decided to do some collaborative planning. We pulled together 8 different park supervisors, and I offered the support of INR department. There was a consensus that was reached between all 8 parks, which were the 8 biggest parks that usually and traditionally have coastal cleanups, that there is just no safe way to encourage the traditional gathering this year. Based on county guidance and health regulations, current park conditions, and our staffing levels at the moment, the idea was that instead of doing the big gathering, we were going to pivot and follow the California Coastal Commission by encouraging volunteers to stay home and stay safe. The poster that you see here is the California Coastal Commission's poster. This was not our poster. We're not using it even as pretty as it is because for our people, their happy places often are parks. So we would like to encourage them to stay home instead of coming to the parks. So the idea here is that participants, instead of gathering together on the shorelines like we have in the past, to keep everyone safe and socially distanced, we are going to ask everyone to stay in their homes and their neighborhoods and focus on the education of how trash travels. Instead of asking people to come to the coastlines, we're going to tell them about how that trash that's in the streets in front of their houses can travel through storm drains and pipes and gutters and make its way to the shoreline. And by cleaning up their neighborhoods, not only are they doing fantastic community service for their neighborhoods, but they're helping the shorelines as well. We're encouraging participation in many different ways, but there's also a special patch and a sticker. I'll be mentioning a little bit more about that later in the presentation. And the biggest change here is that besides the fact that we're asking people to stay in their homes, is we're also encouraging volunteers to use their own gear and dispose of the trash and things that they collect in their own home bins instead of big communal places. One of the biggest ways that we're going to be offering support to those parks that were traditionally the parks that participated in this event was by offering INR roving support. Last year, we had over 2,500 volunteers at the different sites. This is a very big event, and it's been going on this is its 36th year. That being said, we anticipate that while we are asking people to stay home, there are going to be those that show up anyway, just given the history of this event and its community involvement. So INR staff on both this coming Saturday, September 19th and the 26th are going to be out in our parks, not to encourage people to do cleanups in the shoreline parks. We won't stop them if they bring all their own stuff, but to be telling them about the new format of the event this year. There's going to have a lot of information on how to register, how to log their hours, how to use our new interface. And we won't be passing out PPE, but we will get to pass out the information about how this event is going. Additionally, my department, the Community Services and Volunteers Department, was able to supply dumpsters to 2 different sites who felt like they were pretty sure that people were going to show up and leave collected garbage around anyway. This way, even if people do show up and do the cleanups, we'll have adequate space to be able to get that trash taken care of. So the locations where that roving is going to be taking place is Big Break Regional Shoreline, Hayward Regional Shoreline, the MLK Junior Regional Shoreline, Miller Knox Regional Shoreline at Point Isabel specifically, Point Pinole Regional Shoreline, Radke Martinez Regional Shoreline, and Robert Crown Memorial State Beach. At each of these locations, for both the next 2 coming Saturdays, we'll have at least 2 naturalists and INR staff out helping to spread the word with tables that are distanced and information that people can take with them to be able to do their own successful cleanups at home. We've been able to do quite a bit of promotion about this event. So there was a collaboration with public affairs and visitor centers. This is how we're trying to spread the word about the new format this year. So there have been social media posts. The poster that you see on the side here has been posted on physical locations in shoreline parks. There was a write-up, 2 write-ups actually, in the September-October RIN about the coastal cleanup and the new format. And then of course, our web pages have a whole bunch of information. There's also an engaging video that was a collaboration amongst both naturalists and other INR staff. It's a pretty neat video. It's a little long to share the whole thing, but I was hoping that I could share at least a segment of it. So I'll share that now. Oh, let me make sure. Excuse me for 1 minute. Oh dear. Let me make sure that I have that on correct. There we go. All right, so this will be just a very short segment, probably about 40 seconds of the middle of this video. So the naturalist that you're going to be seeing in this video is a woman named Jenna Collins, and she's showing you the steps that you can take to prepare yourself for the cleanup. So I hope everyone will be able to hear this.
An easy way to make a set of tongs is by getting 2 paint stir sticks, a rubber band, and a rag or cloth. It's important to stay close to home. If you find you need a car, you've gone too far. You are now ready to head outside.
So that's just a short clip to let you see a piece of the video that we put together. And there was there was a whole bunch of different naturalists who helped us put that together, and it gave it a lot. It made it so that the entire video was very engaging, because instead of just one person talking about how you should be safe, you got to see the personality of several of our staff, and it made it feel a lot more engaging, I think. So let's talk for just a moment about Samaritan, which is our new volunteer database. The big reason why we're able to make this event work the way we are is because of some of the powerful tools that we have with Samaritan. The volunteer webpage has all the information that people need to gather their gear, but it also has a registration link and embedded links for the videos and safety PDFs. And also with Samaritan, anyone who registers will be kept in a separate list, and we can send safety information directly to them via email, as of course safety is our main concern here with our volunteers. So participants will have to create an account to register for this event, which means that we'll be capturing a whole bunch of their information. And it's also extremely useful because they can use that account to sign up for other events, but other volunteer opportunities that we're going to be creating in the future. The neat thing about this is that we were able to make it so that participants didn't have to have a specific date that they were going to be doing this. In fact, any day in the month of September, if participants register the fact that they've logged any hours, that's when they'll be eligible to be sent both the sticker and the patch. And we will have their information based on their accounts to be able to send that directly to their homes. And again, in the essence of safety and trying to not encourage the gathering of groups at our own park sites, we're encouraging volunteers to use their own gear and their own protective equipment and dispose of the trash that's collected in their own home bins. Samaritan also gives us a really neat opportunity to showcase different events. So as of right now, the only event that people can sign up for on our Samaritan homepage is the Coastal Cleanup Day. But when they click on this special event, featured event page here, they'll be brought directly to the registration page that has all the information, again, kind of in tandem with what kind of gear they should be having. And it also has an interesting safety disclaimer. So just give you an idea of what that looks like. This is what a page looks like if you were to click on that event. So you have a big green sign up button, some information about the event here, the safety guidelines and safety video. And then this little section right here, we worked with RISC to create a special district disclaimer because of COVID-19, we're not able to use the normal service agreement, especially because these activities are not happening in our parks. So we're able to put that directly into the event registration, which is really helpful. Another really neat tool that we've been able to advocate for is the CleanSwell app. It's put out by the Coastal Commission. It's the Ocean Conservancy, pardon me. It's a special app that it takes the place of the old data cards. So in the past, we were always able to talk about what kind of trash was being collected, where it was being collected, and then we would mail in these forms that were able to talk about that. This year, in lieu of those forms, most people are able to download and use this app. We can still use the forms as well, and there are places on the website where people can download those forms in both Spanish and English. But this is a really neat way that's a little bit more intuitive. In fact, as you say what you're picking up, it calculates the weight and the density of everything that you're picking up. And it allows participants to contribute to citizen science and allows them also to earn fun badges, which keeps them engaged. And they don't have to just use this for our event. They can use this anytime they do any kind of coastal cleanup. So we're really encouraging this. Safety, of course, has been key for us. We're not using the usual service agreement, so we want to keep our participants as safe as possible. Again, we worked with Risk to create the disclaimer that you saw on the event page. And also we have the safety videos and safety guidelines that are being emailed directly to participants and available on our website. All right, so the fun part, the sticker. Anyone who participates, no matter how little or how much they participate, every registered participant qualifies to get a sticker or a patch. I don't have the patches just yet, but the sticker is going to look like this wonderful design here that was created by our graphic designer, Hillary. It's a really exciting thing, and we get a lot of information from this, because to get the sticker they have to fill out this short survey here, which means we'll know exactly how many people participated, how much time they participated, which days they participated, if they used the app, and then if they'd like a sticker. Plus they have a special spot to leave us any notes if they'd like to. At this point right now, we already have 81 registered participants, which is a pretty exciting number, because I'm thinking of those registered participants not necessarily as just individuals, but as households. So it could be a lot more than that. And we've already had over 12 people fill out this survey and submit some hours for the event. And I'm excited to be able to send everyone their fun, very colorful sticker and a thank you for participating in this year's event. And of course, Samaritan's, one of its massive strengths is that it truly allows us to report all of this data in a really great way. So with Samaritan, it's very simple to take a specific event that you've created, find all the participants. Again, you saw that little survey, you'll see all the hours that they spent out doing volunteer work. And also you can turn those into PDF or Excel files, and everyone who registers is recorded, and everyone who registers is then can use that same account to sign up for multiple other opportunities in the future. And not even just that, they can also register for school programs or naturalist programs. And we have an incredible future with Samaritan that we're building. This is sort of almost like baby steps. This is a small event compared to what we can be doing with this database moving forward. So we're very excited that this is the first opportunity to get to really share this with the public and show our interface for our new volunteer database. With that, I'd be happy to open it up to questions, and I'm excited to share more with you soon.
This sounds great. Questions, Director Wieskamp?
You know, I'm wondering if we could get a little, if we want to encourage more people to do this, if we know of some people who are going to do it, if we could get people like Good News these days. I've noticed that a lot of the news broadcasts are finding things just to cheer everybody up. And I think this would be a fun thing if we know a family that's going to do it and show them and get it on a news broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a fantastic opportunity for us to try to get people to be telling their friends and family.
A family event, something like that, that they do nearby, but at least it gives them an excuse to be outside doing something useful and hopefully fun. Maybe they can have a picnic afterwards. I don't know. It's a good idea. Congratulations. I'm sorry you got thrown into this world so soon, but we appreciate you.
I've been very grateful. I've had an absolutely fantastic team to work with on Samaritan. Both Andrea Jones and Megan Secombe and I have been working on the Samaritan end of this for a long time, and we're all very excited to see that it come to life now.
Good job all around.
Director Waspi.
Just thank you. I think this is wonderful. You guys are so incredibly creative, and pivoting is a great word. It's amazing how everyone in the district has kind of turned this into a very, very positive thing. Our whole working relationship with our public. And just thank you. I look forward to this and participating. And I just have to say, I can't get over Hillary Von Austin. She's such an artist. She's just so good.
She's amazing.
She's fantastic. Yeah.
We're
hoping. Sorry.
Okay. The best of
Yeah, this is, I think this is a great program. I just love the tongs out of the paint sticks.
Yeah.
In regard to that, I was thinking, I wonder if there's any way, I was just thinking those tongs would be great for people that could bend over. I'm just thinking of my bad back.
Something long, yardsticks.
We could get engage the Regional Parks Foundation to maybe get some kind of sponsorship with a local hardware store to maybe get maybe sponsor or get some litter sticks,
Yeah.
for either for free or like, for $1 and it goes to the foundation or whatever. That would be, I think that would be good. And it would save
Make
my
money. Congratulations. Have fun and make money. How's that?
Yeah. No, I think this is a great idea.
Yeah. All around good.
I plan to use it. So
Oh, wonderful.
I will sign up as soon as I can. So was this informational only?
Yes, at this
Yes.
point.
Jim O'Connor.
So I wanted to say one last thing is, we've been in a couple of big software implementation programs. One was the famous program for our computerized maintenance management system, and Samaritan was the other large software implementation program we've gone through. And Jessica and Megan and Andrea have done a really great job. Now, a couple other things you'll see in the future is we really started Samaritan to streamline our coordination for school programs, because school programs often require getting not only a naturalist to provide the program, but then also the transportation element of a program. And Samaritan is going to be able to do that all in one stop and one shop instead of multiple forms and emails. So there's a lot of great things going to come out of Samaritan. Plus, for our volunteers to be able to enter their hours is really, really important, because that's always been such a problematic data exercise. They submit paper forms and then it has to be typed in and entered into the system. So now they're going to be able to do this from home, do it themselves, and it'll save a lot of time and effort in the volunteer program. So I'm really glad that Jessica was able to highlight that. So it was a great effort, and this is the first initiation of that. So thank you very much.
God, that sounds great. Is there a similar software program that we're looking to, thinking of streamlining for our reservations as well?
So we already have 2 software programs we use for reservations. We use ActiveNet and Reserve America. And so we do have software programs for that. And we are eventually looking at replacing those with more modern versions of those programs. But we actually do use software programs for those functions now.
Great.
Not to interject, but there is some talk with Samaritan right now. This is a little bit far in the future. We're not quite on this part just yet, but there is some talk about actually linking our Samaritan interface to ActiveNet so that the 2 systems could actually work together as well. Yeah, so we have a little bit of a ways to go before that, but we're on the right track for those different kinds of collaborations.
God, that sounds great. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Great presentation. And like I said, I'm going to be out there. I'll see if I can register.
I'll send you your sticker. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. And welcome to the Park District.
Absolutely.
Okay. Did we have any public comments on that item?
No, Chair Rosari, we do not at this time.
Seeing none, let's go on to item number 3, review of the Golden Gate live steamers.
And I think we've got admin analyst Renee Patterson. There she is, and she'll be presenting this item, Director Rosario.
Great, thank you. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Renee.
Let me verify that you can actually see this screen.
I got it.
You are.
Okay. Okay. So good afternoon, Board Operations Committee members. Chair Rosario and Directors Wieskamp and Waspi. Today, we're here to talk about a special use agreement with the Golden Gate Live Steamers. Also here today, other than me, Renee Patterson, Administrative Analyst, is my supervisor, the Business Services Manager, Tiffany Margalisi, Dan Sykes, who's the Parklands Unit Manager, and then also two members from the group, the President, Richard Reeves, and the Secretary, Richard Kroll. So as always, we kind of go over the same things. So first we'll look at the location, then I'll give you a little background. We'll also state the public benefit of having this special use agreement, the actual use itself, and then I'll ask for a I'll ask you for board approval for my staff recommendation. So the area is within the red circle. It's in the south part of Tilden at the entry to the courtyard. This is an sort of an overview from the top of the track itself. The entrance to the facility that the public would use is right off the service yard road as it goes in towards the courtyard. Then I also wanted to note that it kind of curls around the Redwood Valley Railroad use area. And that's the box there in the center. And then their car shop is right down here in the smaller box. That just kind of gives you an orientation of the way that the track goes. So a little bit of background. The club was founded in 1936 by Victor Shattuck. It was first located in Redwood Regional Park and then moved to Tilden at about the same time as Redwood Valley Railway moved. The club is completely funded by membership dues and any donations that come in from members of the public when they come to the site. And then they have monthly meetings. Before COVID, they were meeting in their car shop. Now, I think they're doing more of a Zoom meeting or just email communications because it's not safe for them to be there. If they do go there, it's a planned event so that they know how many members are there and they can maintain their social distance requirements. And they do all wear masks. Then they have 2 meets each year. The meets are really kind of, it's not like a meet like a race or something like that. It's more or less time for other clubs to come and meet at the site and for them to all get together and show off, you know, their little trains. And I shouldn't call them little, they're officially called 7.5-inch gauge model trains. But they also talk about and things like that. So the public benefit is that this club is open to all. They really do encourage people to join the club if they have any kind of interest in doing this. They have open houses for the public. They do the 2 special meets a year. And then Sundays are their run days from noon until about 3 p.m. That's when it's open to the public. People come into the facility through the Redwood Valley Railway ride. And they do that based on membership availability and also the weather. I mean, if the weather is bad, they're obviously not going to have a run day. So they use this area. It's completely fenced in. There's kind of, you know, dangerous things in there. So they secure it really well, and they can't let members of the public in there just to walk through or anything like that. So it's completely enclosed. And they offer these things not just for fun, but also for education. It's sort of a history lesson on steam trains and things like that. And this particular picture is a newer picture that they have showing them wearing their masks. So the recommendation that I am talking to you about today is to have approval for a special use agreement with the Golden Gate Life Steamers at Tilden Regional Park for a 10-year term. It's a complete 10-year term. They've been there for a very, very long time, and we were hoping to get them for a good block of time. And the payment to the district would be beginning the first year of the agreement at $1,950 per year, and then it would increase every year for $50. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. So is Dan and Tiffany, and then there's also the 2 members from the group.
Great. Questions, Director Wieskamp.
Oh, I think this is such a great service. My neighbor is a train nut, and I know he and his children at various times have been there. And so I like the fact that they try to not just make it entertaining, but also a learning experience. And looks well protected, and I'm glad for volunteers who are keeping it going. So I'm glad you're encouraging others to join it. And thanks, Renee, for the presentation as always.
Director Waspi.
Great. I think this is a wonderful organization. I've been affiliated with them for a long time. I hate to admit that I can 2 slides back, I was responsible. Don't show it. It's okay. 2 slides back, one of my first jobs in the Park District was pouring that concrete walkway and some laborers up in Tilden. I love the group. I've worked with them and admired their work for years. So tell me though, am I totally out of it? This isn't Ellen and the Golden Gate Steamers affiliated with this group? No, contract. Okay, great.
Director Waspi, that's a separate use agreement. It's a whole separate system.
Okay, great. Well, I look forward to those folks staying around for another 10 years or longer, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a few questions. So who does oversight and inspections of the agreement and the site?
It is not yet called a ride. It's classified as a museum, and the trains themselves are part of the museum. The inspectors that inspect at Redwood Valley Railway have never come down to inquire about it.
Director Rosario, are you talking about like state level inspections for safety, et cetera?
More interested in, well, that, plus I'm more interested in, does the park supervisor inspect the facility, you know, once a month, once a quarter, or whatever? And then, yeah. Is that something the park supervisor is doing there, or somebody else?
And of course, Dan could speak better to that, and so could Tiffany, because she meets with them frequently as well.
Oh, good. And then, so those are regular inspections. And then something that came up out of another use agreement involving Anthony Chabot Equestrian Center. In that particular agreement, it was saying that the employees needed to be identified either via uniform or badge. And I was wondering if that was part of the contract for not only this one, but for, I'm pretty sure the railway, Ellen's group, they all have name badges and stuff. So I was wondering if there was a way that employees and members have name badges or something to identify themselves to the public.
We can ask them to do that, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, because I saw that in the equestrian center agreement. I thought that'd be a good idea. And then are they? Oh, I see Dan's hand.
Yeah, hi. I'm happy to. This is Dan Sykes, Parkland Unit Manager. Happy to respond to the question about working with the club. Dave Weaver, our park supervisor at Tilden Park, his office is actually a stone's throw away from this facility. They have frequent interactions. We also schedule a formal meeting once a year to make sure that we're keeping on track with them and discussing, any issues that come up.
Great. And then I have two more questions. One is, are we making sure that they're adhering to our IPM policy?
Tiffany, you want to answer that one?
Definitely, yes. That's something that we address as part of both our formal meetings that Dan's group and Parkland units sets up. And then we are in communication with them on, I recall we discussed it just at our last meeting we had with them. Dan, do you have anything to add?
No, nothing in addition, but it's definitely there as part of our discussions.
Tiffany, are we adding that in as agreements turn over, or are we adding that language into new agreements?
Yes, the language in the agreement says it has to be that all pest management plans have to be in compliance with the IPM and are reviewed by the IPM staff person.
So Director Rosario, just to kind of put a fine point on that, was that this is how we're implementing the board's policy direction regarding glyphosate, is that we're, as these turn over, we're making sure we emphasize that as part of that
Excellent.
conversation with these concessionaires and special use agreement holders.
Great, thank you. And my last question is, do they keep statistics on number of visitors?
And Director Rosario, we also have two representatives, I think, of the Golden Gate Steamers here. If you wanted to ask them directly, maybe they can answer that question. Maybe Denise, we can ask them to come in, start their video and join us.
I am right now.
Somebody, there's Richard. Okay. You're on mute, Richard.
This is Rick Reeves, the president of the Golden Gate Live Steamers. In answer to your question about badges, we do have badges and we wear them all the time, especially during the Sunday's run time when we have public run times for the public. They come in through that gate and we shuttle them around the track, and the station agent is usually there answering questions, talking about the club, the history, the trains, all the operations. So we are there all the time.
Excellent. So do you keep statistics on how many visitors you get?
Yes, we do. Every run day on the Sundays, the number of people are logged, and we have logs of the members who come in and out. They sign in every time they come to the club. So we have statistics on all of that.
Cool. Do you have an idea off the top of your head of what the annual visitation is? Pre-COVID.
Well, typically on the weekends we have 300 to 400 people come through. We're really fed by Redwood Valley. So when they're finished with their ride at Redwood Valley, which they have to pay for, they come down to our track, which is free, and we shuttle them around. And so we visit a lot of people, so 300 people a week times 52 weeks. We see a lot of people come through there.
That's great. That's great. That's quite a symbiotic relationship you have there.
We love it.
Good. So yeah, that's the end of my questions. I just, this is a 10-year agreement, and just want to make sure all of our ducks are in a line, and we're another successful 10 years. So are there any other questions or comments? Any public comments? Great, seeing
There is
none.
none at this time.
Okay. Seeing and hearing none, I would take a motion.
I would move that we approve this special use agreement with Golden Gate Steamers for their extension. And if I might, Rick, is Ken Blonsky still a member? Or
Yes, he is.
Good.
Yes, he is. He still comes out all the Sundays.
Excellent. Send him our greetings.
I will.
So moved.
I'll second the motion and say location is always everything. Congratulations.
Great. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Denise, can you take a roll, please?
Director Waspi,
Aye.
Director Wieskamp,
Aye.
Chair Rosario.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Feel good.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you, gentlemen,
you.
for joining us.
Welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we are on item number 4, the review of the agricultural lease for Coyote Hills Regional Park.
Interesting.
So I'll just do a quick introduction and hand it off to Tiffany. I think I think it was around October, the Perry family at Ardenwood noticed us that they were going to not to renew their lease for farming at Ardenwood Farms. They had also been doing some work at the Patterson property at Coyote Hills. And they notified us that basically Doug Perry was winding down his business. In response to that, Tiffany had released an RFP seeking a new concession farmer for Ardenwood and for the Patterson Ranch. And so it's been an interesting process. And with that, I'll pass off to Tiffany to give you the details.
Great, thank you, AGM O'Connor. I'm going to share my screen for my presentation. There we are. Can everyone see that and hear me okay? All
Yes.
All right, so as AGM O'Connor introduced, I'm here to present the Coyote Hills Agricultural Land Lease RFP. I have some guests with me today from our recommended lessee. I'll introduce them in a little bit. Also with me is Matt McDonald, the park supervisor for Coyote Hills, the unit manager Dave Vance, and admin analyst Renee Patterson. We all worked as a team on this RFP. So my presentation today will be going over the location of the lease area, giving some background on the lease, and talking about the request for proposal process and timeline. From there, I'll move on to talking about the expected revenue from the lease and then conclude with our staff recommendation. As AGM O'Connor introduced, we did a dual RFP process for Coyote Hills and Ardenwood. Today's recommendation, we are focusing on the Coyote Hills part of the RFP, and I'll talk more about that, but rest assured that we will be returning to the board at a later date to further discuss Ardenwood. So here's a picture of a map of the Coyote Hills agricultural lease area. It's approximately 45 acres shown in the yellow highlighted area, also known as the Patterson parcel. And it has not been farmed since 2017. Prairie Farms did some farming there, and as I'll talk about next, there is not currently a working well or water distribution system. And so for those challenges, it has not been farmed since 2017. The Park District is in the process of installing a new well, and the dotted line area shows where the placement of the new well in relation to the lease area. You can see the same area. We have Paseo Padre Parkway, and we have this little corporation yard, and then the lease area is approximately like, if you can see my cursor. So the planned well completion is planned for fall 2021. It is being planned and designed and administered by the Design and Construction Department. And the current well project does not include irrigation or water distribution. So that's a theme I wanted to have everyone keep in mind, is that even when the well is done, there will not be irrigation or water distribution yet. So the RFB Scope was a RFP issued for both Ardenwood and or Coyote Hills. And so not knowing what the interest would be in this RFP, we left it up to proposers to submit for either one or both of the agricultural areas. We did not receive any proposals for both. So we received proposals for Ardenwood and received proposals, one proposal for Coyote Hills, which is the one I'm going to be recommending today. Ardenwood is still being evaluated. Some of our requirements were certified organic was required, and a minimum of 3 years farming at an equivalent scale and scope. Here's our RFP timeline. It was quite extensive because we announced it in May. We had our site visit on June 3rd, which was amidst COVID. We had an excellent turnout, a lot of interest in this RFP opportunity. We also did, because we had such an excellent turnout, over 30 people, and trying to social distance with that many people, we also did a follow-up Zoom for question and answers. And then we posted all the question and answers and all the Zoom notes on our website, along with this list of attendees. So we had a very transparent process and really wanted to go above and beyond that everyone had this access to the same information at the same time. And so that brings us to where we are today, which is the Board Operations Committee review. And if the committee recommends or the committee approves our recommendation, we would advance to the full board of directors. I also wanted to highlight all of the outreach effort that we did for this RFP. In addition to our usual ebparks.org website and legal ads, we did a direct mail to 15 farming entities. We emailed the UC Berkeley and UC Davis Cooperative Extension, the UC Berkeley Farming Program, the Alameda and Contra Costa County Resource Conservation Districts, as well as Perry Farms, the outgoing lessee, distributed the opportunity through his network of the Ag Council. And each of these opportunities that we post to, and specifically the 2 UC cooperative extensions, then in turn posted to their Ag networks. And so I feel confident in saying to the committee today that we really got the word out to the agricultural community. So as I mentioned, while we had a great turnout at the site visit and we had a lot of interest in the RFP, we did receive feedback on the Patterson parcel that there is challenges with the lack of well and lack of water distribution system. So I think I'm pleased to be introducing Bear Flag Robotics today as our recommended lessee. We have Gino Cafiero, the founder, and Daniel Carmichael, the farming operations manager. Staff is presenting this to the committee as a sort of interim lease, or a shorter term lease. I'm going to be going into more detail about why we think it's a good win-win for a short term. Bear Flag Robotics is a technology startup company established in 2017. They are based in the city of Newark, so very local to Coyote Hills. And their mission is to reduce the cost of growing food and increase global food production through automation technology. So they are taking off-the-shelf tractors, like a John Deere tractor, and retrofitting them to be self-driving. So Bear Flag's interest in this site is they are seeking a test site for equipment near to their headquarters since they're located in Newark. They have been operating at Coyote Hills over the past year under an encroachment permit. Oops, let me go back. There we go. So we have had a great opportunity to get to know them and let them test their equipment at the Patterson parcel. They are also willing to maintain the fields at the Park District's direction and have already done so during their encroachment permit time period. So they've completed disking, they are willing to plant cover crop, and as they are not interested in cultivating the land as a farm per se, they are very open to our direction as to what we would like to see there. Another really, I think, selling point here is that Bear Flag is willing to lease the parcel as is. They are not contingent on waiting for the well to be completed. They're not waiting for the irrigation. They're not requiring any kind of capital investment either from themselves or from elsewhere, such as the Park District. So they're ready to go. They've been there, we're working well together, and they have this equipment that is really needed to continue to maintain the land so it doesn't become a field of weeds, essentially. So to add to that, they are proposing to pay a lease of $1,000 a month to pay rent. And what we're proposing here is a short-term lease. So looking at a 3-year initial term with a possible 2-year extension. And again, we're just looking at this. We see a lot of good potential here. We get the land management needs that we have accomplished. We are receiving rent, which is great. And we have an opportunity to have this local partnership. And then at the time that, after COVID is settled down, the economy is maybe a little bit different, and the well is installed, we could certainly look to go out to RFP again and see if there would be a commercial farming entity who was interested. We did, like I said, we received interest, but we didn't actually receive any proposals for the site. And through both informal feedback and emails we got, the fact that the well isn't established yet was a bit of a challenge, in addition to the other challenges of the current situation. So this concludes my overview. And what we're recommending is that the Board Operations Committee approve and recommend to the full board the selection of Bear Flag Robotics for the Coyote Hills agricultural lease for a 3-year term with a possible 2-year extension at the rent of $1,000 a month. And I'll pause for, obviously questions and comments, but I also want to be sure to give Egino and Daniel a chance to say hello. And if you have questions about their automated technology, I'll certainly refer those to them. Should I stop screen sharing?
Doesn't matter.
Perfect, someone did it for me. Thank you.
Great, so questions, Director Wieskamp.
I know we have a company that's coming out gathering wild seeds with the view of cleaning the area after that and bringing back and establishing a natural palette. How does this play into that? Is this part of that area where they're gathering the seeds and so on?
I can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll give it a shot, and then I can have others who may chime in. I think that's occurring as part of the Coyote Hills Restoration and Public Access project. And so this agricultural lease area is adjacent to, but not part of the restoration area. So we've been in close coordination and contact with the team that's working on that project. So these activities are compatible and adjacent, but not overlapping.
As long as we're compatible in what we're doing. Certainly it's an interesting opportunity I'm sure you did not expect for the company, but as a short-term thing while we're waiting for the well, it makes sense to me. So good job.
Director Waspi.
Yeah, well, I support this. I think this is innovative and interesting. I do have a couple of questions. So I was at the first meeting of potential farmers, and there were over 30 people there, and they seemed very, very excited. I'm wondering, is there any follow-up of why it didn't work, or?
They want water.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about on Ardenwood mostly, because there were only 2 bids on Ardenwood.
True.
And who were the bidders, if I can ask, at Ardenwood?
So, Director Waspi, let me take a stab at this. I have some experience with this because we had in my prior agency, we had a 300-acre farm parcel in the middle of San Jose. The challenge with this is it's about scale. In order to have an effective and profitable commercial farming enterprise, it's about having a scale that, in the hundreds of acres. Unfortunately, we're talking, I think it's a total of 80-something acres that we're managing between the 2 parcels. That's part of the problem, is the scale issue in terms of being profitable. The other problem is the location. The Santa Clara Valley used to be a really rich agricultural area, in California, but now the real center of agriculture is really southern Santa Clara County and really Monterey County in the Salinas Valley. So what happens is oftentimes farmers are renting equipment, the labor sources are there. And so it's this distance that we have from those agricultural communities where most of this work occurs, that's also been an issue. And I know that was a similar issue for this RFP. So it's really about our location and the scale that we're talking about here. So that's really kind of a general answer to why, we didn't, people are enthusiastic about it. But when it looks at the actual profitability of the farm, that's one of the challenges. At least that's our understanding of this. But we also, Tiffany and I have talked exactly what you said, Director Waspi, is we'd like to do a follow-up and find out, confirm some of those things that we've heard and find out specifically. We do know that a couple of the folks that are in the farming business, the timing was bad. It was not good timing for the farming business. We're asking for the RFP to be submitted when they were doing a lot of their planting and intensive agricultural work, horticultural work. So it wasn't good timing for them. So depending on what our decision is finally on Ardenwood, we may go out to RFP again, and those folks may, depending on our timing, be able to put in a proposal if it's a different time of the year. So hopefully that answers some of your questions.
Sure, it makes total sense. But who were the bidders at Ardenwood?
We did receive 1 proposal from Dig Deep Farms.
Okay, just 1.
And a second proposal from Fremont Leaf.
Oh, that's
so,
yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we're still evaluating those. Those 2 entities were interested specifically in Ardenwood. But I think because we see the opportunity here, we didn't have another interest in Coyote Hills. We have a great working relationship with Fair Flags. We didn't want to hold up this lease for those further discussions. So we are really working on it, and we'll come back soon to the board on that other topic.
Okay, and so as a follow-up, and maybe Bear Flag could answer this. Do you guys, this is just your test plot for 3 years. Do you have any desire, would you be testing more? Would you be interested in more than 3 years? And what the direction I'm moving in with this conversation is, if I'm not mistaken, that darn well cost $1 million, didn't it? Or some crazy number. For 45 acres, maybe we ought to just leave it fallow, or leave it as a cover crop, or leave it as an experimental place, because for $1 million with nobody desiring to farm it, I don't know that it makes sense.
Well, I'll let Bear Flag answer as to some of their interests. They will say that I think the well project is well underway. It's out to bid, and the bid opening is, I think, next week. So as far as I understand, the decision had been made to move forward with that well. So from that, I'll turn it over to Gino and Daniel if you'd like to say hello and maybe talk a little bit about your interest in the site.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, and we've really enjoyed our working relationship so far, and we're honored to work at Coyote Hills and develop our technology there. for the discussion, we would absolutely be interested in increasing time of the lease into the future. There'd probably be a separate discussion, but you know, where we sit today, 3 years with a 2-year extension, fits perfectly.
Huh. You know, I just, once again, I understand how we're going to spend this kind of money on a well if somebody wants to farm it, but if nobody wants to farm it, I mean, I think we have the ability to reject bids and just say, thanks, but no thanks. You know, we can provide all the water we want, but if nobody's going to water plants, we got
Director Waspi,
need to be funded.
you know, Director Waspi, I'm going to do a little more digging in on your questions and concerns regarding that, and check in with the GM also. I'll make sure I carry that message.
All right, thank you.
Director Wieskamp.
Well, I know in the past, the Sheriff's Department has had a program dealing, I think, with released prisoners doing organic farming. And it strikes me that we might be able to help this program and something like it, but you got to have water. The whole idea was to develop organic farming where people could see it and have people engaged in it, but learning a worthwhile job. So and there may be some others like that. So I still think we talked about bringing back farming. And I think to do that, you got to have water. That's my perspective.
Please, Camp, I'll clarify that the program you're referring to is Dig Deep Farms, and they did submit a proposal for Ardenwood, which we're currently evaluating. And
sure.
Based on their operation, they were interested in Ardenwood because the water and irrigation was already existing. So there you go.
I'm not a farmer, but my grandfather was. And let me tell you, you got to have water if you're going to have a crop. Otherwise, people are it doesn't matter whether his were both corn and cotton, quite different than this, but you got to have water. Simple.
Great.
And they might be interested in the site if they had water.
I have some questions. I guess this has been in operation for a year. Have there been any complaints about dust? Because I know that was a major issue when we were talking about having this operation right next to the entrance road. So was there any complaints about dust during your operation?
Maybe Matt McDonald, our park supervisor, could jump on and answer that question.
Thank you, directors. Thank you, AGM O'Connor and Tiffany. Thank you. No, Director Rosario, we haven't had any complaints about Bear Flag Robotics. They've actually been a really good partner and willing to work with us on a lot of aspects, to include picking out the cover crop. I'm going to be working with the naturalists to pick out a crop that's going to work effectively for the park and for Bear Flag Robotics.
Great. That was my next question. What is the what the cover crop is going to be? So I guess you're still working on it.
Yes, we are.
And then also the machines themselves, they're converted to be self-driving. Just wondering what are they using environmental diesel like our standard equipment uses?
I'll let Bear Flag Robotics respond to that.
They can use biodiesel, so that we can run on biodiesel, yes. And then to your point on the dust, the great thing about not having to farm that, for profit, is quite frankly, we don't have to be out there if it's windy or if the conditions are dusty. So, and we try and make sure that's the case. But again, we'll make sure it's not dusty. And if it is, or if there's any complaints, we will certainly cease operations for the day or whatever, however long.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That is a windy area there too. And then cover crop machines. I think that's it. Oh, do we? Speaking of crops, do you till the entire acreage, or do you leave some of it fallow?
So, Daniel, do you want to handle that?
Yeah, we have tilled the entire acreage of what was drawn out in Tiffany's map there. Happy to do more or less there, but again, I turn to Matt, and whatever he wants me to do, we can do. If we want, cover crop on everything or just some of it or whatever, it's really up to the park district.
Director Rosario, part of what happened with Bear Flag Robotics is they were looking for land, and I happened to be looking for somebody to help us out with the field, which currently is mustard for the most part. And to be quite honest, I'll get people coming in with machetes and bags, like the cherry picking in Brentwood or the corn picking in Brentwood. So Bear Flag Robotics happened to be perfect timing to help us out with that. And we've had a good relationship with, they've been really proactive with what we need to get done there, so.
Great. Okay, I think I remember fondly as a kid going out. My parents would drive out into the rural areas and collect mustard.
Oh my gosh.
Jim.
I just want to thank the Bear Flag Robotics folks. I mean, this is one of those relationships we look for. It's a win-win. Matt needs to manage this property as an agricultural property. That's difficult to do that. Bear Flag needs a place to test their equipment, and we get a little bit of revenue from it. So this is a great model. And as we're managing the cover crops in this area, I'm sure we're going to do some sort of a rotation, so Bear Flag can continue to practice and test their equipment, but we can also get a cover crop. I mean, that's really going to improve the soil there. And I guess this goes towards Director Rosario's comments also, is that we don't know quite if we're going to be successful here with a farmer. Once we have the water in place and the soil's in great condition, we might find somebody. It may not be commercial though. It may have to be subsidized. If we want farming there for historic purposes, then that may have to be subsidized. And that's one of the challenges, the questions that the exec team is batting around about this RFP process and where we stand. And we'll obviously bring that back most likely to this committee for discussion once we get through the evaluation of the RFP for Ardenwood. But that is one of the challenges. We may, if we want farming, in location for historic purposes like Ardenwood, we may have to subsidize that. It may not be a situation where we actually can gain revenue from this. So that's part of our discussion we're having, and we'll hope to have that discussion with the broader board at some point in the near future.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it's one large community garden, but anyway, yeah, I think this is a good use of the land for now. I think any other discussion? Dennis.
Just a clarifying question. So Coyote Hills has 45 acres. How many acres are farmable at Ardenwood or available at Ardenwood for farming?
I can answer that, and it fluctuates based on a crop rotation schedule between the park district's interpretive farming program and the lessee. So it was somewhere between 75 acres to up to sometimes 90 acres at Ardenwood, depending on the year. So at that situation, we have at Ardenwood, we have two parallel farming programs, one that our staff runs and one that have been typically run by the Ferry Farms. And the amount of acreage each year and the actual plots is on a collaborative rotation schedule.
All right, thank you. And for Bear Flag, I don't want to tie everybody up right now, but I'm quite interested. It sounds very innovative and cutting edge. And I don't know how you guys, are you the only people in the world that do this, or does everybody do it? But it sounds very innovative and cutting edge. And I consider the Park District really innovative and cutting edge. And we've got a big public affairs department. So if we could link up with you guys and publicize this and talk about it, I think it'd be a great subject.
Yeah, we couldn't agree more. And along those lines, anything at Ardenwood or the 4-H that's over there, yeah, we'd love to be a part of that.
Great, thanks.
And Director Waspi, it's a great compliment to the Momentum Station activity that's going on at the Concord Hills, which is also autonomous vehicle.
Yeah, if we could, Bear Flag Robotics could find a way to get their machines to run on biodiesel, that would be wonderful. So, but other than that, we have, I think we're in order here for a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Director Wieskamp and second by Director Waspi. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 And aye. I'm sorry, I meant for Denise to do roll call, but we did it without her.
You heard all three of us. Yay. Live votes. I love it.
Okay, thank you. So it's unanimous. Thank you.
And there are no public comments on this item.
Excellent. Any public comments? I think that was our last item.
So we do have a public comment. To the gentleman from Bear Flag Robotics, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd like to suggest we see if we can get a film later on of them doing it out there. That would be interesting for the whole board, I would think, and for just passing strangers.
Yeah, I was hoping there was going to be a video.
Yeah, we want a video.
We'd be thrilled to share a video. You can see our website, actually, bearflagrobotics.com. Or come out anytime. We'd love to give folks characterize.
Great.
Thank you.
Do that.
Thank you very much.
Strange things we like to watch.
Okay. Any public comments in general?
There is for item 5, and Management Analyst Ruby Tumber will introduce them.
Okay, great.
Having trouble seeing the group that was speaking next.
Can you?
I just asked for them to share their video. They should be on shortly. It will
Oh,
be
okay.
Angelic Edelman.
There they are.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, I was speaking to the group. I am not sure who's speaking first, but perfect. Did you want to begin and speak on your item?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for the assistance you gave us during the shutdown in terms of a fee waiver for Timeline Ranch. It was amazingly helpful.
I can't hear anything.
Judy?
Yeah.
We need you to be closer.
We can't hear you.
No sound.
And I think they're frozen.
If I may, I can speak a little bit briefly on what Judy had shared with me, if that's acceptable, and then we'll see.
Judy, can I suggest that you turn off your video and just do the audio? That really helps.
I'll stop the video.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
A little bit better.
You guys can hear? So I just wanted to come to the meeting to thank you all for helping the Skyline Ranch concession after the shutdown, the COVID shutdown. That was a really tough time, and what you did to help us made all the difference, and we were able to run our programs and get back on our feet. We had kids come back from college who had been, you know, kind of uprooted, and they came back and they had jobs, they had the horses to ride, and they had their lives still here, fortunately, you know, so we really, really appreciate it. I do have one college student here right now who did come back, and she's getting ready to go back to school, but she's here today at the meeting if you'd like to have a word with her about her experience during COVID.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Aria, and
We lost.
Technical difficulties.
Hi, Angelica in the group. Not sure if you can hear us, but we cannot hear you at this time. I'm stopping the clock.
can appreciate all the support you guys have given to our barn. This place is my home, and I really appreciate coming back every summer, and I'm so grateful for what you guys have done for us.
And then we have Angelica Edelman, our camp director, and she has some quotes, I think, from parents who wrote us notes from summer camp.
Hi, my name's Angelica. So a couple of the quotes, and this was happening throughout the whole summer. Every time a week ended, we had great feedback from everybody, and they were all the parents were so grateful. And so some of them were, thank you so much for putting this together and making our camp possible. We had a video that we put out to the parents because we couldn't do our camp show, and so there was a lot of great feedback there. And another parent said, thank you for caring so much about our kids, for teaching them in such difficult circumstances, and for always having a positive attitude. And like I said, that sentiment was heard throughout the whole summer, and it was just really great to see the kids there and seeing them being able to socialize, and since they've all been inside too, and we're just really appreciative that we were able to put on our summer program. And I think I've been doing it. I think this is my 6th year with Judy, and I think this year kind of meant the most to everybody. So it was a really nice thing to be able to offer and be a part of this year. So thank you.
Great. Yeah, anybody else?
That's all we have here today. We
Oh,
wanted to
great.
keep it small just for social distancing. And
well, I just
so
wanted to congratulate Judy Martin on running a successful program in this COVID era, doing it safely and being able to accomplish what you've done. I think it's a tribute to how you manage the both Skyline Ranch and Piedmont Stables. So thank you so much for your management and your care in providing summer camp, a very successful summer camp. And so I thank you for the board and also from the Park District, because I think having a successful program like this in this time really shows dedication and dedication and love for your chosen equestrian. So thank you so much, Jim.
And I just wanted to, Judy, I just wanted to make sure you knew that we had received your video clip, and we're passing that link along to the committee members.
Excellent.
just for fun. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
We have no other public comments at this time.
Okay. Board comments. Director Wieskamp.
Why can't we always have such a totally feel-good agenda? It's terrific, especially considering the times we're going through. Don't you feel the same? Yeah. Everything good, positive, for the people trusting us. And there had to be a lot of trust in that summer program and all the things that are going on. No, I congratulations on bringing us a perfect agenda.
You're welcome.
Waspi.
Good for you too, huh?
Thank you, Dee. So can somebody clarify, did I hear it correctly? Mission Peak, Stanford Avenue staging area is available for hiking to the top of the peak? Is that correct?
That's correct, Dr. Waspi. We opened yesterday, Tuesday morning. We reopened both the Ohlone College trailhead and Stanford, but the trail on the backside going towards Sunol is closed off, but those trailheads are open now.
Excellent. Thanks for all the great work the staff did. And I hate to put a hour note on this wonderful meeting, but is this appropriate for Swimmer's Itch to talk about? Because up at Keller Beach, I saw on the news that, I guess my question would be, I know it happens, so that's all great, and we've done everything we need to do, but how does Swimmer's Itch get in that large of a body of water, and who does anything about it? It's surely not the park district's waters.
No, I mean, I'm probably not the person who has the details on. We should have got somebody here from stewardship, but Swimmer's Itch occurs regularly at several of our locations on the bay. And I don't know the specifics of if there's certain conditions why it shows up, but it shows up regularly, then it seems to go away on its own. But what we do is we notify people, basically they need to shower after they get out of the water, and it usually takes care of the issue. But I don't know the details of if there's certain conditions, but I know it's been a regular thing that occurs at our beaches on the bay every year.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. And on a final note, I couldn't let this pass, but I reflect on Director Rosario stating when we were talking about Coastal Cleanup Day, when he lamented the fact that the tongs weren't long enough and you would have to bend over his back. I remember 100 years ago when Dee and I first started off at Redwood Park, we would all in the morning go off into the picnic areas picking up litter. And once we invented litter sticks, it was just so wonderful. But Dee Rosario eschewed litter sticks because he felt that bending over every time to pick up a piece of litter just strengthened his core. And he was very, it did him well, and still does, I thought, Dee. I thought you could still.
No, I think I'm paying the price now.
Maturity makes you realize a lot of things.
Those were the good old days.
We went through a lot of gloves in those days.
Right.
And then let's see, I think, just a couple of comments. Oh, I think I made them during the, during the week. I had interaction with somebody complaining about Chabot Equestrian Center, and I just wanted to make sure that the employees for any of our concessions are identifiable, so that we can figure out if there's a bad interaction at all, and the public can identify them, and those people can stand up for themselves as well. And also there was something else, and I can't quite remember what it was, but it'll come up some other time.
We're talking about maturity again.
Yes, there we go. I'm having a lot of those.
Oh.
So yes, so thank you for a great meeting, and thank you for all the work. I know these meetings are not easy to put on, and I appreciate all the work that Denise and Ruby and the rest of the staff do. So yes, Ruby.
I believe we still have AGM comments, and maybe that's what Jim was.
Oh, there we go. That's right.
Oh, well, c'est la vie.
Just, I'll keep it really simple. It was a really difficult, the last 10 days or so. I'm really proud of operations staff out in the parks. It's been a really difficult time with the smoke event, and staff handled it well. We're doing our best to adjust to these new conditions. I think as we go forward in the future with climate change and the dry conditions we're seeing, we may have these events regularly. So I think what we're doing district-wide is adjusting. We're going to be looking at all of our park facilities, our staff facilities, and evaluating those. And but I'm really proud of staff. They nobody ever thought we'd be managing two of these crises at once, a pandemic and a major smoke event like this. So anyway, I just want to make those statements. I'm really proud of park staff for managing this, keeping parks open for those families that are still, and our citizens that are still managing their own issues under the pandemic and needing to get out in the parks. So, but I'm sure glad it's nice today. We needed a breather, as they say, even if we get another event this weekend, but I'm really glad about that. The other thing is I just want to just check in really quick. We are attempting to reopen some of our park facilities, and Del Val, we're trying to get Del Val Regional Park open on October 2nd and Anthony Chabot Campground open on October 2nd. And we're moving forward with those plans. The Lake Chabot concession at Lake Chabot is now doing vessel inspections for people who want to hand launch boats. We don't have a facility for backing down trailered boats, but if you had hand launch boats, there's canoes and kayaks, etc. That is now open for public launching, and we have vessel inspections available through our concessionaires. So staff are adjusting, and we're still trying to get reopen some of our park facilities as we move forward. And we looking open to getting the campgrounds open, as long as we don't have some spike in the COVID infections or additional fires, which I hope that does not occur for the rest of the season. So those are my comments, Dr. Rosario.
Great. Any other comments from staff? Oh, Dr. Wieskamp, and then Tiffany, I think, had her hand up as well.
One more thing, Jim, I want to thank you, because keeping track of all this and keeping it going has got to have been one of the most stressful periods of your life. So I personally thank you, and I'm sure the whole board does, because countless hours went into it, and I appreciate your hard work.
Dr. Wieskamp, I really appreciate that. I can tell you, in 32 years in this business, I've never seen anything like this. Yeah. And I think Director Rosario and Dr. Waspi were, in this business just as long, and this is really unusual. But I have to, while I appreciate your comments, we really do have a great team in operations, and it's been a real team effort between us, actually, in public safety. And we're constantly adjusting and planning and getting together. It's been a lot of meetings and a lot of thinking this through about how we can open things safely, both for the public and our staff. But I do really appreciate those comments. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great, I'd second that. Tiffany.
I just had a scheduling matter for Dr. Wieskamp and Rosario. If you are able to stay on the Zoom for just a moment after the meeting ends, I wanted to check in with both of you on something.
Okay, great.
A secret. Wow.
Excellent.
Sure.
And then, see, no other comments? Then I think we can adjourn.
Good meeting.
Bye-bye, everybody. Great meeting.
Everybody stay safe. Thanks again.